Hey, how's it going everybody? Welcome back to Aussie Fish Keeping. So in today's video, we've got a super fun video ahead. So as you can see behind me here, I've got these 5 tanks, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be setting them up so I can hold more stock for my online store. So I've been meaning to do this little project, I guess, for a while now, just because I have been wanting to expand my stock range on my website. So I thought, why not pick up the camera, film this for you guys. I have been wanting to, spice up the content a little bit for a while now. But yeah, I guess without any further ado, let's just jump straight into it and start setting up these tanks. Alright, so here are our 5 tanks here. You can see they're not looking too great at the moment. As you can see, I've got a few fish in some of them. So we've got this little swordtail up here. I've got some bumblebee gobies in there somewhere. I've got a lone gudgeon in there and a few rainbow fish in there. And then this tank over here is just empty. So yeah, not only are we gonna have to take these guys out today, I've got spots to scatter them throughout the fish room, but we're also gonna have to drain the tanks. I've got new substrate, new filters, new heaters, and I've got a new light to put up the top there just to brighten things up. You can see in my fish room, most of my tanks and tubs are lit up, except for this rack up here, so it does look a little bit not good. So yeah, I've got a new light for that. We'll put that up first just because it'll make the filming a whole lot easier. So yeah, let's go unbox it. All right, so here's our new aquarium light here. I'm sat on the floor for this, so that's why I look a little bit weird right now. But yeah, this bad boy right here is supposed to be 120 centimeters long, I think, which I think should be long enough. I didn't really measure, I'm not gonna lie, but it should cover most of the tanks up there. All right, so here she is. It just looks like a normal light. Like I said, I do have a few of these. They're such a great light. They're literally like the cheapest lights that you find on eBay. And they actually last a while. I've had this one up here for about, I don't even know, probably 4 years, and it's still kicking. This one should be a lot brighter though, and yeah, it should look a lot nicer. Anyway, we're gonna set this guy up now and we'll give it a bit of a test. All right, so we're up here on the top rack. We've got our light here, although I am in a little bit of a pickle because I'm not sure if I wanna have the light at the front here like this, or if I wanna put it at the back. Unfortunately, with this rack right here, you might be able to see, I'll get a better footage of it anyway, but there's like a bracket right here, and that stops me from putting the light dead center. So because of that, I do have to choose front or back. I think keeping it at the back will be more convenient. It's not gonna be in my way, so I can get into the front of the aquariums. All right, time for the grand reveal. Let's do this. Where's the switch? Heck yeah. You can see it doesn't look too out of place now. I mean, this light down here is actually looking pretty dull compared to this one now. But yeah, it actually does light up these ones pretty well. I was a little bit afraid just because, it doesn't reach the full way over. But as you can see, I mean, it lights them up pretty good. And then these 3 right here are obviously very well lit. And then we got this one here, which is just the same as the other M1. But yeah, now that we've got that set up, I mean, it looks 1,000,000 times better. We can now get on to catching out all these fish, and then we'll start draining the tanks. I have to actually move this tank and we'll replace it with this one. So yeah, let's just jump in and get straight to it. There's gudgeon number 1. I don't know if you can see him in there. So something actually pretty cool about these rainbow fish right here is I'm actually not too sure what species of rainbow fish they are, if my camera will focus. I actually caught these from a pretty remote creek in central Queensland not too long ago actually. And yeah, like I said, I don't really know what they are. They're definitely some sort of rainbow fish. They could very well be crimson spots, just because I have seen at least one of them with a little bit of red around its gills, which is obviously what the crimson spots have. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, if anybody knows what sort they are, please leave it in the comments below because I really don't know. Okay, so now that we've got all of our fish out, it's time to start siphoning, and unfortunately, I've only got 1 siphon, so this may actually take quite a while. so we're finally done back here. As you can see, I left a few of the tanks with water in them just because I couldn't be bothered taking all the water out. So obviously these 3 tanks here, I just left a little bit of water. There's a little bit of debris in the water column and there's not too much on the floor anymore. But all of this suspended stuff should be sucked into the filter, and having a little bit of detritus is actually good to kickstart, the cycle. And then we've got these 2 here, which are just empty, and yeah, we're gonna have to fill those up, which is gonna take quite some time. So now I think I will just go ahead and top all these up and then fill up these 2, and then we can actually get onto the fun part, which is actually putting stuff inside. Alright, so I'm actually just gonna leave that there for tonight. It is like 10 o'clock at night and doing this is pretty loud. Also, I've just got this sad little watering can at the moment, which is not useful whatsoever. It takes me about 3 trips just to fill up one. So tomorrow morning, I'll come in here with the hose and I'll fill them all up. I'll do that off camera just because it's gonna be a little bit boring. And then we'll have to go to the shop and get some supplies. So yeah, with that being said, I'll see you all in the morning. Alright, good morning everybody. It's the next day. I've already gone ahead and filled up these tanks, as you can see here. So they're all nice and filled up now, and actually we'll plug in a little light. So yeah, I filled them all up this morning. I got the hose in here today, so it was a lot quicker. It took me like 10 minutes to fill them all up. And another thing I did is I actually went to the fish shop and I picked up a little bit of substrate and a few sponge filters. So now what I'm gonna do is we're first of all gonna rinse out this substrate, and then we'll start putting it in all of these tanks. Okay, so as for the substrate I got, I think it's called calcite sand. Yeah, so this stuff is called calcite sand. And if you've ever used this substrate in particular before, I've definitely used it a lot. It takes quite a while to rinse out. So I think I'm gonna, really give this a good rinse, just because if you don't give it a good rinse, it'll murky up your water and we definitely do not want that. So yeah, let's get to rinsing it. Alright, so we're back here now. We've got all of our lovely gravel washed out there. It's pretty clear now, so it shouldn't murky up the water too much. So now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna start putting it in the aquariums. We're gonna spread it out evenly throughout all 5, so I'm not sure how thick the substrate layer will be. I think it'll just come over this little black piece of the tank. So yeah, let's just jump straight into it and start spreading out this gravel. Okay, so all of our substrate is now spread out. You can see the water's gone a little bit murky, but I think once I put the sponge filters in and I'll throw a few plants in here, it should clear up. So I think I did all right with leveling out the substrate. These sort of 3 here have the most amount of substrate. That's kind of just on accident. And then the 2 on the end don't really have that much. This one just has enough to cover like the bottom glass, which I mean isn't ideal, but it should work. So yeah, now that we've got the substrate out, we're gonna start setting up the filters. So I've got this air pump right here, and this sort of top airline splitter is the 5 splitters that go to each of these tanks. So I've got all the airlines attached. We'll now just get our sponge filters, which are just these small sponge filters right here. I've got 2 bigger ones as well. I've got one right here sitting in this thing, and then there's one in this big tank, which I'll take out. So yeah, we'll set these up now, and hopefully that should clear up the water a little bit. Alright, so we've finally got all of our sponge filters in. You can see they're all bubbling away well. I should very quickly put the lids on so it doesn't bubble into the light, but it should be fine for now. So now all we've got to do is put a few plants in and put the heaters in. So I haven't actually got the heaters yet. I'm gonna go to Kmart later on and I'll pick up a few. And hopefully by that time, these tanks have cleared up a bit. So yeah, I guess with that said, I'll see you guys when I've got the heaters. Alrighty guys, so we're back from the shop. I'm filming on my phone at the moment just because I couldn't be bothered getting my camera. But if you look back here, our stock tanks are starting to look a little bit less murky. This one, well, actually all of them are still a little bit cloudy, but you know, they're not looking too bad. I may have to just go over the glass. It looks like there's like some sort of film on there, which I'll have to take off. But as for the stuff we picked up from the shop, sorry if the light starts flickering, but we have this little 6 power board thing. I picked this up because there's gonna be quite a few plugs. And then I've also got just some of these Kmart heaters. They work all right. They're obviously not the best heater, but you know, they're also definitely the cheapest. So I decided to just get 3 of those, and I found this guy laying around in my fish room, which we're gonna use. Now, obviously, we don't have a heater for every single one. I don't think the heater would even reach this one because the power board would have to be all the way over there. So these 4 should hopefully be heated. That's fine because I'm planning on getting some more Australian natives for this tank, so they obviously don't really need to be heated. But anyway, I'll switch it back over to the good camera now and we'll start setting up these heaters. Alrighty, we're gonna do a cheeky little unboxing. I'm sorry about this microphone, it's actually really annoying me, but basically, these heaters, they're pretty self-explanatory. So yeah, these heaters are literally just probably some of the easiest heaters. They got their little dial on the top there, and yeah, I guess that's basically it. Alrighty, so we've got our heaters in. I didn't actually think this one would be able to make it in there, but it did. And I've done, you know, a little bit of work on the cables over here. It doesn't look too messy. Alright, it looks a little bit messy. But yeah, all of them have heaters, obviously, except for this one. And all the heaters look pretty good. They're actually like really bright for some reason. And I've set them all to, I think, 24 degrees Celsius. So, you know, just sort of that normal tropical temperature. But now what I've actually done is I've gone around the fish room and I've collected up a few plants. So these aren't plants that I'm really gonna be selling. I mean, I might eventually, but for now they're just in there so that when I actually get some fish in there, obviously the water quality will be good. They'll feel a lot safer because there's more plants in there. So yeah, as for the plants we've got this one sword right here. This is just one that's grown off my big one. I think it's called a green ocelot sword. Then we've got a little bit of guppy grass in here, and we've also got a few of these little lilies. And then we've got some Vallisneria. So this is the stuff that was actually growing underneath this foxtail in here. I've got some down there, but there was some just floating there. So I thought I'd take that out and we'll plant it. And then I've got a little bit of this foxtail here. And as well as that, I'm gonna come down here and get some of this subswastatung maybe out of there. And then I'll spread it around all of these aquariums. Alright, so we're done putting all the plants in the aquarium now. You can see I also threw a few pipes in a few of the tanks just to give the fish somewhere to hide until these plants really start to take over. So as for the plants I've put in all the tanks, I'll go through the tanks one by one. So this tank here, we've started off with just a little bit of subswastatung there, and then also a little bit of guppy grass in the back. These 2 plants don't really need high lighting, so that's why I put them in this sort of darker aquarium. Next tank here, this one has obviously a lot higher lighting, but I've got these 2 lilies in here, which I were keeping them outside, but there was a lot of algae growing on them, so I moved them indoors where they should grow very well. Then I've also got, you know, another clump of subswastatung in here, and then I've got a pipe at the back there, which is actually a pretty long pipe, so hopefully a lot of fish can hide in there. The next tank here, again, this one's pretty bare, but it should grow pretty quickly, and we've got heaps of Vallisneria in here. Well, not heaps, we got 2 bunches, or 2 stems, I guess. And then we've got a little PVC pipe in there as well. So this Vallisneria, like I said, came from this tank down here, and it was actually floating in there. So hopefully it should do a lot better now that its roots are in some substrate. The next tank here just has a little bit of foxtail, which I grow a lot of in my fish room. I've also got this little sword, like I showed you, except I did have to put it in a pot just because there wasn't enough substrate in this aquarium. And then I've got a little PVC pipe back there as well. The final aquarium has, again, just a little bit of Vallisneria and some Subswastatung, but we really didn't have much substrate in here at all, so I actually had to just put a rock over the valve. Hopefully it still grows. I think it should. So yeah, that's all of our tanks now. I'm super happy with them. I think they've turned out actually really nice, especially now that they've got plants in them. It really does make the fish room look a lot better, and it also means we can start getting a lot more stock for my website. So with that being said, that is actually gonna bring us to the end of today's video. I hope you all enjoyed this style of video. I prefer filming these videos. They're a lot easier to film, a lot easier to edit. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video as well. I will have a few more of these videos coming out, obviously when I get stock for this, which should be very soon. So that video will be dropping shortly, but I've also got a bunch of other videos of just me doing things in the fish room. So yeah, like I said, hopefully you all enjoyed today's video. If you have any other videos you want me to film, make sure to leave those in the comments below. But yeah, with that said, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all in that next video.